29 seems crazy late to jump into that speech. I feel like she should have hit you at 24 with that one.
Surprisingly, she was more okay with it the first time. But
Yeah,
I think
maybe
that's
'cause
only
you're young.
because she hates video games.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the
And
video
guess your
games that
first
did
thing
it.
was music.
Yeah, my mom always thought video games were a waste of time. Joke's on her.
Hi, do you stream? Do you want good background music but don't want DMCA? That makes sense. Use Streambeats. It's got over 600 tracks, all these different genres. They're all free right from Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever you use. Plus, we've got a rock album coming out next week that sounds like this. I'll put the Spotify links in the description down below. If you're using a different streaming service, just search Harris Heller. Thanks. Back to the video.
All right, I got one more topic for you. I don't want to take up your time. The things that new streamers are completely clueless about, that you learn as you're older, that you need to tell them, like, hey, this is something you're completely unaware of.
Okay.
Things that until you have hundreds or thousands of eyes on you, you don't realize are a thing.
You don't realize are a thing.
Yeah, things that you just can't understand doing this as a career until you're doing it as a career.
You go first, Harris. You go first. I demand it.
Okay, very first one, the amount of thought and planning that has to go into every piece of content.
Good one. Damn it. That's a good one.
I know. I wanted to say it before you did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you should probably spend a good amount of time, maybe even as much as you spend streaming, thinking about what you're going to do and planning it out.
I feel like a lot of the new streamers, a lot of the small streamers that want to grow, say, I'm going to go live this many days a week. They play video games and they just hope people come in. And then you get to be, like you said you put like 2 to 3 hours into that slideshow?
Yeah, I took the day off the day before to make it.
Chat, genuine question. How many of you have spent 2 to 3 hours planning a single live stream on Twitch?
I think the live stream was shorter then, right? I think I spent about 3 hours making it, and I think it was about a 2-hour stream. So it was 5 hours of work, but only 2 hours live. It's like movies. Movies, pre-production is much longer. Pre-production and post-production are much longer than the actual production of the show, the movie, or whatever it is.
Yeah, the most difficult part about my job is figuring out, like, what is a clickable video? What are the options I have around me, and what can I turn into a clickable and then enjoyable video? And that literally, I will have to think about it for like hours before for every single video to make sure I've got something useful and entertaining.
All right, I got one. Your setup doesn't matter.
I respect that answer. Tell me more.
Everybody focuses their first question on what your setup is. And it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, sure. But I think if you ask, 95% of big streamers what they have, some of them don't even know. Sykkuno uses one OBS scene. Lily Pichu did the same before Michael Reeves fixed it. XQC's setup was never done by him. I don't think he knows what the hell mic he's even using. And so these details are, at the end of the day, just details, and they can help. But, I promise you the most important part is the content. And no matter how good your setup is, that won't change that fact.
I don't know if anyone in chat has noticed. My content has changed quite a bit over the last year or 2 years, because I started doing way more gear reviews and like high-end gear reviews and nice cameras and lenses. And I still do that occasionally because it's important to know. But it's been much more geared around what is necessary, what will actually improve your content. I've done a lot more videos like how to turn your webcam, how to make your webcam look like a DSLR,
Yeah.
Or how to, let's compare using your phone as a webcam to an actual camera, and then comparing the prices. And, if you're using your phone with a $9 app versus spending $1,000 on a camera and lens setup, are you really getting an extra $891 of value out of that?
Yeah, your phone is an amazing camera. It's so good. And that's what actually Island Grown, the Pokemon box opener, card opener does on Twitch. He uses his camera, and you need a high quality camera to capture your cards. And
he just uses his phone.
Everybody has a good phone. Yeah, he just uses his phone.
Dude,
he
phone
uses an
cameras
app
are
and
amazing.
captures it.
Phone
They're
cameras are amazing.
They're so good. It's very true that your camera on your phone is probably the best thing if you really want to get started with something nice. But a C920 and a Blue Yeti will get the job done.
It's harder to make a good YouTube channel with crappy gear. You can still do it with your phone, but like the bar is just so high on YouTube, and you need to treat streaming as just a way to connect with your audience, and then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, my next one. Internet careers are more often than not super short. But if you look at, I'd actually love to see a poll on this. I wonder if Devin Nash has these numbers. I want to see how many Twitch partners stream for less than 30 people.
Like current Twitch partners?
Current Twitch partners stream for less than 30 people. Not that there's anything wrong. Again, not there's anything wrong with streaming for less than 30 people. We've all been there at some point. But because most streamers and even most YouTubers, once they hit that initial, they have a video that pops off, right? Or they collaborate with someone, or they do something on Twitch that brings them up to partner status, and they don't know how to maintain it. They don't know how to innovate, and they keep doing the same thing, and the internet is fickle. And they find someone else that's more interesting, right? I see so many partners that hit partner, they do that partner push and they get there, and then within a couple months, they're back down. Someone in chat saying it's all about virality. That I'd say virality is the reason I had a music career, and it's the reason it died, is because we entirely relied on the success of a single Vine and we weren't able to innovate off of it. And even with a Vine that got 100 million views, within a year and a half, we were making no money anymore.
Yeah, it's more like you start creative, you find something that works, and then you keep doing that thing, and then you have to also keep innovating to make sure that you don't die because people get bored of your thing. I will add on to that. I went into streaming thinking I will only do it 5 years, and I'm still kind of on that same path, but I'd like to do something longer term, something more creative.
You want to stay in the space?
Maybe film, maybe a book, maybe a TV show, maybe I don't know, could be even just a podcast, just something that I think is just not this. And this will go to my second one. As much of a creative outlet as you might think YouTube or Twitch is, it is so impermanent compared to every other creative outlet, mainstream creative outlet.
Like what? What do you mean by
your
that?
stream doesn't matter after the stream ends, and your YouTube video only matters for maybe at most like a year or two. It's just that trends come and go, and videos are being made every single day by the thousands, hundreds of thousands probably. Nothing you make is permanent and will be remembered. You will only be remembered for your body of work. And this obviously has exceptions for people like Bill Wirtz or something like that, but for streamers, pretty much every single video you do and stream you do won't really matter. It's just going to be your body of work that matters.
So what's the advice there? It's
the advice is, if you are thinking of it as a creative outlet, I don't know if that's the best way to think of it. That impermanence matters in a way, because I think a lot of people get into it because it's like, you know, more accessible than filmmaking or writing or acting or whatever. But I don't think it holds the same value that those do in terms of how they're seen. Like no one looks back on Equals 3 or
I was gonna bring up Equals 3. What's that? Ray William Johnson?
Ray William Johnson, yeah.
So
no
many
one
of
looks
those.
back on any specific video. I couldn't name one. You know, maybe some of his your songs, but that's also music, which is a little different. But yeah, the videos and the streams, they really don't matter after they're done. So you can have the greatest stream of all time, and it can have 100,000 average viewers, and you'll still have to go live the next day, and that can suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like what Unis Honest. I think Unis Honest kind of drove this point home a lot.
I can think of one more stupid one.
Yeah,
You will never
rounding out to a nice 5.
People do not look for already existing answers before they ask for personal answers. This is another thing that almost stressed me out until I learned to roll my eyes at it. But so yeah, 3 days ago, when our distributor screwed up and 100,000 copyright claims went out to Streambeats users, which by the way have all been reversed. We got it all taken care of. I immediately tweeted out from the Streambeats account and then retweeted from my personal account, hey, this happened. We're taking care of it. It's not going to be a problem. It was a mistake on somebody else's part. We will get it fixed. Literally the rest of the day, 100 tweets, screenshots of copyright claims. How come I'm getting copyright claimed? Hey, I thought you said this was safe. How come it's not safe? And I spent the entire day copying that original tweet and pasting it in responses to every single person. Please Reed, this, I already gave you the answer to this for 2 days. I like made big announcements. Please share this. This is exactly what happened. And you will get hundreds and hundreds of tweets that from people that didn't even check.
Yeah.
And they think to
Same thing
themselves,
happens on Twitch. Same thing happens on Twitch. The moment you do any announcement or anything is people aren't there, so they want to ask. They don't look or anything.
yeah, and the person who's never had an audience before, to their credit, of course they're not going to think this way. They've never experienced this. They think to themselves, I asked a question. How hard is it just to answer my question? Mm-hmm. You don't realize that when you get 100 people screaming at you for something that you've already explained, it's overwhelming.
I see it going through my unbanned forums is that for every person who thinks they did an innocent joke where they say, you know, whatever the hell it is, where they're counting or spamming, there are like literally 20 more people for that exact week that I have to go through and check their bans and unbans as well.
Yep.
So you are part of a mass, and the mass is very consistent, and there's not a lot of originality in it. Let's tackle one more question from Tactical Tickler.
Okay.
Because I think it's important. He says, question for you too. Would you say only less than 1% succeed because they're not honest with themselves and their content? Do they mistakenly pursue a dream when the reality is it isn't as simple and easy as it seems? Most people's content is and I don't think that they think about that. And I think the ultimate litmus test is, are you willing to send your stream or your videos to your friends and family and be like, hey, check out what I did? And if you're not, it's not good enough and you should change it.
I think there are a lot of reasons people fail. I think lack of creativity is one of them. I think there are a handful of others, but I think a big one is that. I think a big one is people don't realize what it takes to be a content creator and how much effort you have to put into it. And they think, hey, here's Shroud playing video games and making millions of dollars. All I have to do is play video games and make millions of dollars. Or they say, I like video games. I want to play video games for a living. And they don't realize how little, unless you're pro, and not even just pro, unless you're good pro, you can't, that's not what it is. It is, I play more video games off stream than I play on stream because that's not what it is. It's not a video game career. It's a production career. And you have to put that effort into it. So yeah, I think a big part of it is kids who say, I like video games. I want to be a video gamer for a living. I should just play on stream, and they don't realize what they're getting into.
Also,
they don't know what it takes.
Even if you think of Shroud, imagine Shroud at one point had to go to his mom or pop and be like, hey, I want to be a competitive video game player. And he had to be good enough to say that confidently and then follow through with it and deal with the conversations that probably ensued. I don't think it is easy to become a pro gamer. I think that's a very hard thing to come out to your parents and tell them that that's what you want to do. You have to be really good at a video game for them to A, even begin to accept it, and B, to prove them wrong.
My mom yelled at me when I was 29. My mom is like the most hands-off, hey, we raised you right, you do your own thing. I'd already been a full-time content creator for 5 years. We already had that Vine success, made a lot of money for a little bit. I had experience more than anyone else did. And I was trying to stream, and she called me and she's like, what are you doing with your life? You're sitting there playing video games? Yeah. And, you know, she was also fortunately the lady who was like, hey, prove me wrong. You know, I would love nothing more than you to prove me wrong. But like, that was the most off brand for her. As a 29-year-old who had been a content creator full time, my mom yelled at me for trying to be a content creator. So it's very hard to tell your parents what you're trying to do.
29 seems crazy late to jump into that speech. I feel like she should have hit you at 24 with that one.
You know, surprisingly, she was more okay with it the first time. But yeah, I think that's only because she hates video games.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the video games that did it.
Music.
Yeah, my mom always thought video games were a waste of time. Joke's on her.
I am healing.
Hey, wait! Stop! No, don't shoot! Stop it! What?
Harris, you just ran me over.
No, I didn't.
Harris? Can you get me up?